Testing. It's not working. Hello? Testing. Hello. Testing. 1, 2. Checking. Mic check. Testing. 1, 2. Can you hear? Testing. Testing. Like at the very end, so. Testing. 1, 2, testing. Testing. 1, 2, testing. What? Testing.
1, 2, check.
Check. Checking, testing.
Can you hear me? 1, 2, 1, 2.
Test. Okay, mine.
Will you be comfortable to put your... Can we check?
No.
1, 2.
1, 2, check.
Yeah, this is working. Yeah, so then this is the emergency plan.
Okay. Wait, I'm gonna sing over there? Wait, are you gonna hear that?
Okay, we gotta go back. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. I'm Steve Sarakaku. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. Okay. People of all ages are a welcome and important part of our faith community. We are blessed to have the children in the sanctuary for the first half of every service and the entire service for all ages about once a month. The nest in the front is our designated area for families with young children, where we have quiet fidget toys and activities and a kid-friendly order of service. Nursery care is available in room 11 every Sunday. As part of a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will orient you to UCE and our service. Do I advance? Okay. There are many links of connection in the description below the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and how to join our email newsletter list. Scan the QR code for the digital order of service. Large print orders of service and hymnals are available in the lobby, right outside the sanctuary doors. We have an inductive loop system for anyone wearing a hearing aid equipped with a T-coil. Enable the T-coil feature to auto-connect. Don't have a T-coil enabled hearing aid? We have receivers with headphones that pick up the loop signal located in the lobby, right outside the sanctuary doors. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming of neurodivergence. You are welcome to move around the sanctuary or lobby to find the space most comfortable for you. There are small round tables toward the back of the sanctuary, a variety of seats in the lobby where the service can be heard, and benches along the back wall. We also have a few sets of noise-canceling headphones and some fidget bags. A few announcements. Next Sunday at 6 p.m., we are hosting the Reclaiming Collective Pagan Group in collaboration with several other pagan communities in a Samhain ritual known as the Spiral Dance. The ritual honors the memory of our beloved and mighty ancestors. The dance and ritual are crafted to be accessible and welcoming to those with all abilities. No previous experience in dance or ritual is required to participate, and all are invited. And now, let us settle into our shared time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. As we begin our service, those joining us online are invited to gather your chalice as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship.
Friend's not a cheap little phony creep or a jerk trying to make a deal. A friend is the person who most of all cares about what you feel. And nothing is harder than learning a friend isn't real. A friend sends notes back and forth all day and doesn't care that you can't spell. A friend knows you've got a crush on your teacher, but a friend would never tell. A friend's outside waiting the minute you both hear the bell. And if your heart is always breaking, the first one there, giving you something to lean on, and that's what it means to be a friend. A friend won't smoke when she's in your room, or laugh at the poems you write. A friend won't go and start kissing your brother the minute you're out of sight. A friend is the person you call 16 times every night. And if your heart is always breaking and you want to run and hide, when your hope is gone, your friend is on your side. If someone moves in round the corner and you want to show him you care, so you give him all your last month of vacation and all of the time you can spare. And then on the first day of classes, he acts like you're not even there. Then he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He'll never know what it means to be a friend.
Wow. Very nice. The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on land that was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the United States government in 1829, shortly before the Potawatomi in this area were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi. This land was then sold to white settlers. We remember the ancestors and contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We acknowledge the intentional violence that landed on North American shores in 1619 has continued through the generations and remains a reality today. These acknowledgments are one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to take what we learn here today and incorporate it into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. We join in our words of shared commitment. Please join me. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space.
For our chalice lighting this morning, Steve brought flowers in honor, memory, and recognition of all of those who are incarcerated in Illinois prisons, jails, and detention centers. You will note the flowers are paper, because if you're lucky, you can bring paper into jails, prisons, and detention centers, if you're lucky. As Mary Ellen and Steve light our chalice on behalf of the UCE Prison Ministry Team, symbol of our living tradition, please join in saying the words on the screen by my colleague, Dee Vandiver. We light this chalice, symbol of our faith alive in this world, naming our vision of collective liberation and daring to remember each other into beloved community. And now please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those joining us online to greet each other in the chat, and I know you already have been doing it, and those gathered in the sanctuary to turn to one another and briefly say good morning. Try greeting someone who's new to you. Please stay after the service and continue those conversations. And let's keep creating new relationships and building kinship among us. So as many of you are already risen, as is comfortable for your bodies, let's join in singing our opening hymn. It's new, you don't know it, let's flow with it. Promise. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And where you lie, I will lie, beloved. Where you lie, I will lie. You're getting it. Where you lie, I will lie, beloved. Where you lie, connected. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. We're connected, sing it. Your people are my people. Your people are mine. Feel that connectedness with all life. Mother Earth. last verse. Your people are mine, and your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Beautiful. You may be seated. Your people are my people. Let's sing the last two parts some other time together. Well, now is the time where we gather and center around young voices and the young at heart. We're sharing a story that I love very, very much that allows us to think, oh, the things we are for, in the style and with homage to the great Dr. Seuss. And so we will move to our time for all ages, and we'll let the pictures catch up when they can. When you go to a march and raise your sign high, you'll make people smile who thought you were shy. And you'll make people wonder, does that kid really know why? You do know, of course. That's why you're there. You're there to say no because you do care. You're there to say, stop. What's happening is not fair. Yeah, we can't keep doing what we're doing the way it's been done. We can't keep using it, moving it, running it how it's been run. Being together, that's how change can be won. So yes, you do know what's up and why you are there. But that's not the big question, at least not for me. It's not folks who don't know or just disagree. It's folks who want to be with us but feel that they simply just can't see. Folks who say, we want to resist. We're on the same page. Our problems are serious. That's easy to see. Destruction must stop. We can't let it be. Stop polluting and poisoning and cheating and stealing. No one likes dictators or violence or kids going hungry and poverty. Stop war. But okay, what are you for? Oh, what are we for? That's my favorite question. I'm sure it's yours too because you pay attention. You have so many answers and so many options and so many solutions that you want to impart. The only hard question is, where do we start? Let's get more personal. Let's talk about we. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about me. Let's talk about us and the many things that we can be. Let's celebrate the splendor of spectrums of gender. Let's recognize and value the many hues of our skin, the many languages we speak, and the lands of origin. To whom one may pray, with one whom shares love, the diverse ways our minds work, our bodies we're proud of. Those who've always been here, on whose lands we now tread, those who dare speak up and who act quietly instead. And let's also be clear, harm has been done. Futures were stolen by sword and by gun. We can't flip a switch and say that we're there. A history of injustice takes more to repair. To balance the scales, we must reclaim what they stole and do the hard work that makes us all whole. Making us whole, that's really the theme. It's not as difficult as it may seem. Lock 'em up, they say. Throw away the key. That's the quick fix that some want to see. But let's take a moment and take a close look. Who gets locked up? Where, how, and why? You'll see there's a problem that one can't deny, a pattern of how the judgments we face are different for each based on money and race. And even if things were quote unquote fair and those doing time quote unquote deserve to be there, is putting humans in cages the best we can do? In 10,000 years, have we learned nothing new? We have, of course, that's the good news. There are much better options from which we can choose. Lift up the idea that we dispose of no one. We're each of us more than our worst act. There's no panacea and work must be done. Liberation's for all of us, or else it's for none. So as you can see, there's much to be done, much to be fixed, much to be run. But having to do stuff isn't so bad. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's do something rad. Let's shout out solutions from sea to sea. Come on, yell out your favorites. I hope you'll join me. collective liberation, prison abolition, saving our Mother Earth. All right, I bet they're rolling in the chat too. To you, these ideas are never a bore. You've already shared many and have many, 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 many more. When you care for the world as much as you do, creating solutions is oh so you. Of course, not all solutions are the best they can be, and on some things, we may disagree. But it all starts with caring and agreeing to sharing, a radical act if we are daring. But this is all stuff that you already know. You're ready to go. You're ready to soar. You're ready to start. You're ready to roar. So off now, let's go. Let us start working. Let us start building the future we're for. As we dream up futures of wholeness and repair, it's time to come into this moment, however we can, however we express that for ourselves, to settle into a time of quiet reflection and share the joys and sorrows of this community. A reminder that if you would like to have a joy or sorrow spoken aloud, you write it in this book that when you come in is at the back of the sanctuary, or you can submit it through a Google form previous to the service, found on our homepage of the website or by emailing one of the ministers. We listen to these offerings with tenderness and respect. So let's take a moment to quiet our bodies and voices during this sacred time by breathing in together and breathing out. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared before our service today. First of all, I wanted to share some words, if you haven't heard them yet, from our Unitarian Universalist Association President, Sophia Bentecourt. In her statement about what is happening in Gaza. Beloveds, I invite you to stop what you are doing, if you can, and sit with me in the depth of this tragedy. How to reconcile the cost of occupation and of war. How to nuance two very real histories of oppression and violence. I'm holding close the words of UN Mideast Peace Envoy Tor Wennesland, who said, "This is a dangerous precipice, and I appeal to all to pull back from the brink." We as a people of faith can condemn violence against civilians, while at the same time engaging in the full legacies and histories of oppression that shape such devastating conflict. We are also reminded, those are the words from our president, and also a reminder from the DRUM, Diverse Revolutionary Unitarian Universalist Multicultural Ministries Steering Committee, who remind us it is essential that we as a community acknowledge the pain and trauma experienced by our members who are directly impacted by this ongoing crisis. We recognize the emotional toil that these events can have on individuals and families. And so I felt it was important for you to know as a community, if you are feeling impacted, to reach out to this beautiful community, reach out to each other and share and find support where you can. Your ministers here, Reverend Eileen and Reverend Susan, can also point you in the direction, if they're not a space for you, to find the space that you need. And from our book, we have the Cancer Support Group honors Scott Sikema, who died on October 9th. He joined our group in April, and in the short time we knew Scott, he impacted all of us with his humility, wit, and courage as he traveled his journey with cancer. We will miss him. Sharing these concerns of the heart is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and hopefully lessen the burden of grief. You are invited to come forward down to the center or the side aisles to light a candle for joys or sorrows on your heart. And if you would like a candle brought to you, simply raise your hand and we will bring a candle to you. We also just learned that Betty Walker had a fall and broke her elbow. And so we're holding also her in community this morning. For these joys, we give our thanks. For these sorrows, we give our love. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Holy One, as we come together as a community, perhaps with buoyant joys that will bounce us through the week, perhaps with heavy hearts for all that sometimes feels just so impossible, and maybe even both. Be with us. O Spirit that guides us to repairing the world, that co-collaborative, playful spirit that invites us to dance our way through, remembering ourselves to ourselves and our relationships. Be with us as we take 3 full breaths together in community. Blessed be. Salam, shalom, ashe. Amen. Amen. As we sing our response, our young people, preschool through 6th grade, are invited to head to their faith formation time with their adult leaders. As we sing this through again, I want to invite you to think of someone who needs to hear this message. Whether or not they actually do, that you are sending and believing in their inner beauty. It could be someone you met over the week, an absolute stranger, or it could be someone you hold dear to your heart. So as you prepare to sing, call up the memory of that person, and perhaps imagine that they will feel touched by this song.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UC is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the NAACP Evanston chapter, whose mission is to secure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights in order to eliminate race-based discrimination and ensure the health and well-being of all persons. You may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or some other giving. The ushers will now come forward to pass the collection bowls down the rows. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Thank you, Gregory. That was lovely, and thank you for your generosity. Before I read this reading from one of our inside pen pals, I just want to say that this ministry is important to me because I witness some of the causes of mass incarceration as a public school teacher and working in solidarity with people who are or have been incarcerated for about the last 10 years. And, the effects of racism, worker exploitation, and poverty are many and extremely negative. And I hope that we try to create the beloved community where we don't tolerate people who don't have enough to eat, who don't have a secure place to live, who don't have health care, and that we don't tolerate that for anybody. Because we can't do this to people and not expect there to be consequences. So, this is by Mr. Lonnie Smith, who is at Stateville. Stateville Correctional Center is a tomb that contains the convicted, whether guilty or not. And the only object that one has to see themselves with is the mirror. A mirror is no respecter of person. The distorted view can be a true reflection of self. The mirror is a consistent companion in one's solitude and gives solace in seeing a familiar face that keeps you company in the loneliest of times. The gravity of being buried alive in a place that holds so many tortured souls makes you wonder, are you still among the living? But the mirror confirms that you are alive. You're still alive. The mirror gives you vision beyond the 10-foot by 6-foot concrete box and iron bars to see dull surfaces intended to dehumanize the soul and suppress the emotions. It's a wonder a select few can see glimpses of beauty, and sometimes capturing one profound image can give you peace throughout the entire day. In a place designed to break you psychologically and spiritually, we find community in the human interaction of conversing with our next-door neighbor. With the mirror held out the century-old bars, we can talk face-to-face with a fellow captive about nostalgia, sorrow, and hopes for tomorrow. This is what builds community in the reflections of a mirrored life.
Down and troubled, and you need a helping hand, and nothing, oh nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got a friend. If the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud. Soon I'll be knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. Hey, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold? They'll hurt you and desert you. Well, they'll take your soul if you let them. Don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, running, yeah, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, yes I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? Oh yeah, you've got a friend.
Gorgeous. So good to be with you all this morning, to be reminded of our connectedness. I wanted to show you a picture. We'll get there. Hey, this is a picture. Does that room look familiar? It is your room just down the hallway. And this is a picture of Monica Cosby at our farewell gathering for my predecessor, the Reverend Karen Mooney, who was leaving the role of being director of the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois. I think I'm in the background with my cell phone taking more pictures. But Monica has been a part of our organization as part of the founding of our organization, and she talks about how important it is to have a friend. She herself, having experienced incarceration at Logan Women's Prison, she writes and avidly, as well as been featured on many podcasts, but this book called Let This Radicalize You, in which she is featured, she shares a lot about how important it is to have friends and to make friends and form community inside the prison. And she shares a story about being saved by friends. And from the book, which is written by Kelly Hayes and Miriam Kaba, it shares this. There were multiple occasions during Monica Cosby's incarceration where she had despair. And she had made a plan in which she had to wait for all the other women to leave. I'm speaking generally because of the multi-generational presence that we're in right now. But she had made a plan because she was so despairing, and as she describes it, she was going to go, everyone else was going to chow, and then there were friends who saw her waiting. And she had been giving away her belongings, so they knew. They knew what she was planning. And instead of going to chow to get one of a very non-nutritious, not very delicious meal, but as best as one could offer, because most of the people in prison make the food as well, some women decided to stay, to be her friend, because they knew that she was worthy of friendship and of life. But everything around Monica, and so many others, not only in Illinois prisons, but all over this country, the messages are different. And so what Monica describes it as is that building community inside is an act of resistance that she calls refusing to abandon. I remember learning from one of my colleagues, a retired minister who was deeply involved in the founding of our organization, the Reverend Marcia Curtis, sharing our Unitarian Universalist theology, that everyone has inherent worth and dignity, but in her words, no one is disposable. That we in our own theology, we refuse to abandon. And yet we live in a throwaway society where our worth is reduced to what we can buy or what we can produce. And hopefully, as some say, we're in the end stages of capitalism, we're working towards a more wholesome and loving vision, what some would describe as salam or tikkun olam. There we had Arabic and Hebrew. One in which we cooperate with the spirit of life and love, or God, or the holy, however we describe this goodness that we can grab onto so that we can work for the repair of the world. And I believe that abolition is a part of this vision. The definition given by Ruth Wilson Gilmore, an abolitionist and a geographer, she tells us that abolition isn't just about tearing down institutions, it's about the presence of life-building institutions versus what we know of as organized abandonment. I recently had the opportunity in my role as the director and as someone who supports various volunteers who are part of the prison ministry of Illinois, of working with a pen pal who for the first time she wanted to make a visit to Stateville. And I said, well, I have a friend at Stateville. And we can look at that picture next. That's Lonnie. Lonnie, who wrote the beautiful reflection you heard that Steve Sarakaku shared. So I said, I have a friend at Stateville. And so I worked with her on Zoom of setting up a visit. Now, if you've ever tried to set up a visit, you have to sign up. And you have to give them so much information every time you want to sign up to visit a loved one. It took us about 30 minutes. And I will have the opportunity to be with her and meet her in the parking lot so that she doesn't feel scared when she has to do all of these random weird things, and to make sure that all the right things are locked away in the locker, to make sure that you put the money on the specific card that you can only use in the vending machines in the visiting area of Stateville Prison, to make sure that she knows that she has to wear closed-toed shoes, and don't wear that sweater, it has too many holes in it, it might look like you're showing your flesh. This is just one example of all the barriers that are put up in our society to try to tell us that there are people in this world that can be thrown away, that there are too many barriers to connection, and that we, in our theology that tells us that no one is outside the circle of love, we know that those barriers are just structures that can be undone. And that a waiting room at a prison is a political space, as reminded by my comrade and one of our advisory council members, Patrice Lumumba Daniels, and here's the next picture of him. That we can embrace a vision that reminds us that we can show up in places with a sense of what I like to think of as organized presence in the face of organized abandonment. And he says, visionaries change the world. And he refers to Isaac Asimov, describing in his book Self-Driving Cars, DVDs, Zoom calls, cell phones, in some instances a century before they actually came to be. He says, fiction is now fact. The same can be true for the disrupting, dismantling, and elimination of the prison industrial complex and its many horrible tentacles. We may not even live to see the fulfillment of this vision. Many visionaries do not. Nevertheless, the legacy endures. What we are doing matters. Thank you for that picture. And so we are about the business of organized presence, of companioning one another and taking the lead from those who are most impacted by this organized abandonment. In our work at the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois, we are guided by our members who are inside, who are incarcerated or recently released. In the spring of 2022, we sent a survey into our inside pen pals asking them, what are your top concerns that you're dealing with regarding conditions of prisons? And the top concern we heard was healthcare. And so we pivoted to an advocacy plan around trying to get people out, with the short-term goal of working on legislation that could end death by incarceration. What is death by incarceration, you say? Well, in Illinois abolished the death penalty, and yet still so many are dying in prisons due to long-term sentencing. According to one of our inside members at Western Prison, Cliff Powers, he writes, death by incarceration. The most simple, straightforward definition is that it's a circumstance where a person spends a significant length of time incarcerated so that they either die in custody or shortly after release. Is my sentence death by incarceration? Yes. My sentence requires me to spend 45 years in prison. That would have me released just over a month before I turn 64. While the life expectancy of the average person is about 10 years past this, it's not quite so for someone who grew up like I did, in poverty, and with continuous drug and alcohol abuse disorder from the ages of 11 to 19. Studies show that for someone who's sentenced at 25, the average life expectancy is 64 years old. I've been incarcerated since I was 18, which would logically put my life expectancy at less than 64, which is when I'm slated to get out. Add to this the conditions I've lived with while in prison, poor diet, stress, etc., and it's unlikely I will survive my sentence. It is possible, and I know of people who have lived more than 45 years in prison, but they are anomalies. And so in our work, guided by people like Cliff, we are looking at always inviting you into being part of this campaign of ending death by incarceration. So when we ask you to make visits, please make them to your local legislators and let them know that bills that support ending death by incarceration, reversing long-term sentencing are very important to people inside who are part of our membership in our organization. And a newly released member, Akil, who was literally released just this week, who over his time in prison became an imam, he shares this about death by incarceration. Allah in the Holy Quran says, "Verily, oppression is worse than slaughter. The real death by incarceration is not the pine box, but the suppression of all that it means to be human." And so in the face of organized abandonment, let us be the people who refuse to abandon and instead are an organized presence. What does it feel like to know that you've got a friend, that we can show up for each other as spiritual companions and friends? And that is part of a deeper advocacy work, the advocacy work of rendering one another more human to one another, that we could become aligned in this vision of a repaired world. You know, my friend Patrice, our comrade, who's part of our UU PMI Advisory Council, he's caged at Joliet Treatment Center. He designed part of this service. He wanted someone to sing the song that Narelle sang, "You've Got a Friend." And I think of his experience, having been locked up since 1995. So hear the lyrics again and think of him. "Now ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold. They'll hurt you and yes, desert you and take your soul if you let them. Oh, but don't you let them." Beloveds, we can't let them. And we can rise above and see that we won't be a part of them, those who abandon. Instead, we must hold on to our souls for our dear life with organized presence, congregational life, building connections. In this space where you honor transitions, making spiritual friends for the journey, honoring the best of what it means to be human, where no one is disposable and all have a place to lean when weary. Places like this beautiful bright spot in Evanston can be an oasis of fortitude, of courage, and refreshment for the journey. Ain't it good to know that you've got this church? And it ain't perfect, filled with precious, fallible lives, but this community is one that is dynamic and learning, and it's a growing entity that is more than the sum of its parts. That you have, just today, organized your presence to be a part of the repair of the world, to a world of tikkun olam, a world of salam, that vision of heaven in the making through community. Here at the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois, we invite you to expand that community with so much thanks to the prison ministry team here and the leaders who have done so much to have a Unitarian Universalist presence inside. And how important is it to hold the mirror for you so that you can see your own beauty, to see each other and connect with each other, but also that mirror, as Lonnie tells us, is a way to visibilize those who are locked up. And as he tells us, my dear friend Lonnie writes, this is what builds community in the reflections of a mirrored life. As you encounter one another during the kinship time and online, may all of your interactions serve as a mirror, reflecting back the beauty that is in each and every one of you and the power that we have as we come together in community. It is in this way that we might know, in a deep, deep, abiding way, you've got a friend. Blessed be. Amen. Amen. Amen.
As Mary Ellen McGoey extinguishes the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Now I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and we're going to sing a song, Lean on Me, and a special word of welcome to those who don't want to say, call on me, brother. There are other words we can use to be more inclusive for this beautiful gender expansive world we're in. You could say sister, you could say sibling, you could say cousin, you could shout out a name of somebody that you want them to call on you. However you want to sing it, let's do this. And sing Lean on Me, number 1021 in your teal hymnal and project it on the screens.
I'll be
beloveds, continue to organize yourselves, be present to one another, and forget not that we refuse to abandon. May it be so. Amen. Go in peace.
Thanks.